let's also watch Danica Patrick completely embarrass herself for 12 minutes. I don't know if they're going to talk about parasites in this one, but this is our boy Cheverin, and Danica Patrick. She's going to talk about, a bunch of conspiracy theories right at the top. I haven't watched the whole thing, but apparently this starts off with chemtrails. Why this dude he's a health science expert, has something to say about chemtrails as a supplement company owner. I don't know, but we're going to find out. So here we go. We're going down a rabbit hole a little bit.
There's so much blockage of the sun these days, it feels like. And like finally people are looking up and being like, oh, why does the sky look like a grid? And, it is completely confirmed through news and the government that they do spray chemicals in the air and that chemtrails are a real thing. Obviously, the last few years have been nuts, and there's been so many things to put us into a fear state and keep us indoors, avoiding.
Yeah, maybe listen to batshit crazy podcasts like yours. That also probably makes people afraid, maybe, and having eyes like this while you're doing them. But okay, yeah. What are you talking about? The sky is a grid? Care to explain a little deeper? I guess you have to be like a conspiracy theorist to understand these people at this point, but okay.
The light. Actually, my friend just sent me a Instagram video that showed someone walking on the streets somewhere in LA, and there's an advertisement for a building to live in. That's an underground building, like an
I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, like you don't need to go outside again. And I just feel
bitch. Sorry, that's the word of the day. Maybe they are offering that building because it's probably cheaper and people don't have money to be able to afford multi-million dollars mansions like you do and live and travel and do whatever the fuck they want. And also, like, you drove a Nascar. You don't think you inhaled some fumes doing that sport for many years and not doing it that well? But, you don't think that being in Daytona 500 before you inhaled some toxins, you're afraid about the chemtrail grid sky? Why don't you get a different career? I mean, I guess she did. She no longer does it, but still, I don't know. Are you out of your mind? I don't know what she's talking about. And oh, there's a building with no windows. It's yeah, because people can't afford to live anywhere anymore, especially in LA. Dumb. Okay, sorry.
They are trying to now depress us and drive us crazy by blocking sunlight. And sure enough, it usually seems like whenever those chemtrails are up there, the next day is cloudy.
Absolutely. This
Thoughts,
is going on.
Research, tell us.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck does this guy know? First of all, thoughts, research? Danica, you're ruining your legacy here completely. Stop it. Stop. The sound of changing tires has gotten to your brain, and it's probably parasites also. It's also controlling her right now. Anyways, he's going to give his 2 cents.
I mean, I've been talking about this for 15 years, to the point where it's like, it was falling on deaf ears for so long. And the whole thing where, no, those are contrails, when contrails last maximum 7 seconds in the atmosphere. And you can actually see that, they turn on and turn off and turn on and turn off, which ends that debate right there. This has been going on since the 40s. It's been, weather modification, weaponizing weather, and really understanding that this is a serious problem, which is basically evolved into this concept where
they're weaponizing the weather by making it cloudy, and I like it when it's sunny outside. God, they're ruining my life.
Preserving the earth, because that's really how they're rolling it out, is that they're blocking UVA and UVB rays because of global warming. That's the whole story now. And that's the geoengineering story, is that what an awesome way.
No wonder his company trying to make eco-friendly businesses and residential houses or whatever flopped, because he's like, global warming, fake. Put a bunch of fucking coal in your backyard. That's what we say. They're like, I thought you're going to make this more eco-friendly. They're like, yeah, solar, that's out. They're trying to block it from us. We're going to put in mercury poisoning into your yard. That's what's gonna fuel you guys. They're like, we're calling OSHA. Bye. Okay, sorry.
Of keeping the core of the earth cool and keeping the surface of the earth cool by spraying metallic atmospheric particulates, strontium, barium, aluminum into the into the sky cover and have it reflect the sun back out into
Sky
space.
cover?
That's the story. It's such an abomination. It's so gnarly. This is an existential threat, in my opinion. This is something that you can't walk away from, because this stuff is making its way everywhere. It's microns size. So it's getting into people's lungs, it's getting into the soil. And like you said, father son, I mean, that's our core energy source of every biochemical in nature and in our body endogenous, and it's part of the production of the life cycle. That's We're dealing with some strange stuff. And the whole thing, did you see my post yesterday? I was talking about, this, we need the life force of the sun, but we also have to understand the sun. So it's not like you can't just be someone who wears sunblock for 20 years and then take a trip to Costa Rica and think that you can just go stand in front of the sun for 12 hours, right? There's a common sense approach. And this whole beauty industry about the sunlight is, damaging you and dangerous to you. Again, common sense approach. Sunlight gives you life. Sunlight activates 3,000 genes associated with longevity that we know of.
Wow.
It's
Wow, amazing. No credential, man. We love it. Wow, amazing. Again, these people hate sunblock. They're like, sunblock, ugh, the worst thing for humanity. It's like, you ever seen a crispy person? They got sun damage, okay? Where do you think skin cancer comes from? Okay, it comes from the sun.
It's the core essence of our circadian rhythm. So without sunlight on the rise, if you're not getting it into your eyes and getting it onto your body's immune system's not turning on, your clock isn't turning on. I can go on and on.
People in Alaska just drop dead immediately. There's no one living in Alaska. That's also false. They don't live there half the year, just so you know, everybody. Animals in Antarctica, they don't exist. That's a lie. That's a scam perpetrated by them. Who's them? Don't ask.
Melatonin is produced from sunlight. And melatonin, we know, is not just the sleep, hormone. It's actually one of the strongest antioxidants in our system, even more than glutathione.
Why, when the sun goes down, why is there a melatonin surge, right? Because it's when the sun goes down that the surge of melatonin comes.
That's correct. Yeah. So it's building that reservoir on the rise. So the rising sun builds the reservoir of melatonin, and then the body responds by releasing that melatonin throughout the brain and body and intracellularly as the sun makes its declination to the east. So as the sun moves away from us, and as long as we're not, shrouded in, I would say pollutionary light, blue light, spectrums like that, melatonin expands.
It's poisonous blue light, as I do 50 podcasts a day and run an online business. Okay, yeah, you're really protecting yourself there.
And releases throughout the body and serves as a major antioxidant. And it's actually creating redox in the body, where it's lending electrons to free radicals throughout the body from brain to toe. Very interesting. And that's why, I'm sure you've been in a campfire, or, fire is everything, right? So fire is very similar with the sun's rays to a certain extent. It's offering certain nanometers of light waves and infrared, which is...
They love nano. They love the word nano now. It's quantum and nano.
It's so quantum. Energy.
She's on fire. This is how she is in my mind.
Feeding to the system, and it's actually releasing stress and cortisol throughout the body. That's why you sit in front of a fire for an hour in a camp, you're ready to go to sleep. Usually you have the best sleep ever.
Yeah. Or if you have the ability to get a red light, they recommend doing red light, sunrise, sunset, to mimic. Because really, red light is just pulling a little narrow spectrum of what the sun offers, right, to help with the circadian rhythm and help.
Again, what the fuck does he know? But okay.
With sort of waking up and going to sleep and because it's about the rhythm, right?
That's right. Yep. And I do red light every other day on the rise, and almost every evening, around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's part of the ritual, and it's got so many benefits on just everything. I mean, it's all common sense with your health. It's not like we can isolate or looking at it allopathically. It's like red light raises ATP, or red light lowers cytochrome B, or whatever it is. We get sometimes so allopathic that we don't realize that By it doing one thing means it's doing so many other things. And it's got an evolutionary aspect to it that's part of our entire doctrine and our physiology of being human. And that's where the spirit comes into play. So we
Tell
get out
me.
of the left brain analytical biohacking energy and we start looking at these things as evolutionary and
Yeah.
understanding that the human body was designed with a set of instructions. You know, we're earth made. You know, you and I are filled with minerals of the earth. Like,
That's not what some people think. Some people think they're starseeds. Some people think they're Lemurians from a different planet. So you'd be wrong there, Chevron. And I bet Danica is actually one of those people. So you're ruining her belief system.
how trippy is that? Body is actually made of what we walk
So
on,
trippy.
right? And we don't even know what's under us. It's such a
No
trip.
kidding.
That's
Yes, we
why we
do.
have to ground to the earth. That's why we drink
I think we do know what's under us, actually. I think science has studied that fairly extensively, but okay.
spring water. That's why we mineralize our body.
Oh, I think I saw you say something about being careful how much of that you put in your water for hydration. Is that true?
No, I made it up. I forget which thing I made up yesterday. Tell me again what I said.
Minerals and salt, or, sodium, potassium, chlorine, all the different minerals and whatnot. Is that dangerous, or is it good to put it in your water all the time?
I think it depends. Some person's medicine's another person's poison. We have to really approach things pragmatically with who we are, where we are, why we are, how we live our lives, things of that nature.
He has no idea what he said before. He's like, it really depends on every single factor that you could possibly imagine. It's like, okay. So there is no rule, I guess.
And so mineralization is foundation to health. Getting electrolytes, getting sea salt in your body, especially on the rise, especially around your vigorous workouts, is critical. But you can overdo it, of course. And then there's wrong form minerals, things that are made, industrial, byproducts that have no basis of being in our body, and actually create damage and hardening of the body. That's when you get fibrotic tissue and overcalcification of the body and things of that nature.
What about the parasites? If everyone has parasites and it causes all these problems, when are you going to talk about that?
And so our body I came with a set of instruction. We have cycles in our life. My body's different than when I was 14.
What?
Right. And so it requires different things at different stages. There's a 24-hour
flower
cycle,
shapes.
there's a 7-day cycle, and there's a 28-day cycle and a 7-year cycle in the way that we need to approach our health. And this is
If he thinks 28 days is a woman's menstrual cycle, you're an idiot. Some are. Majority are not, and it fluctuates, dumbass.
traditional Chinese herbal
He's
medicine.
like, I know. I'm a ladies' man. I know that women be bleeding for 28 days sometimes.
This is an Ayurvedic approach, but they all correlate with new formed understanding of how our immune system works, how stem cells work in the body, all these different things, all kind of meet together at some summit. And so we do a lot of cool stuff here. This is what I love to do.
I'm glad you mentioned stem cells. I was curious. I wasn't sure we'd get to it or not, but so you were talking about these cycles. Is there something appropriate for each cycle, like the 1 day, the 1 week, the 28 days?
Yeah, my supplements. Okay, I'm over it.